Hi, this is Kim Hilton. Thank you for joining me. We're going to discuss a very important topic. I've titled it, The Death of I Am. You know, there's no way you cannot notice. The world is in havoc. It's filled with violence, lack of morals, terrorism abroad, and now we have it here at our doorstep. Even a less educated person can say, I think I know what's going to happen here, and it's not going to end good. If we were to roll back the tape and try to find a specific date or time to point when things really started to change, I'm not sure we could really pinpoint it exactly. History's filled with wars and conflicts and problems. However, there is one specific point in history that has a very important, pivotal change in society. There's actually some pretty staggering statistics that point to this date as a pivotal year in the shift of society's behavior. In June 1962, prayer was legally, through the court system, removed from public schools in the United States. Since that date in 1962, staggering statistics follow showing shift after shift of moral decay, and it moved on and on, even outside of the United States. And actually, there's a lot of statistics that follow in sync with the change of the laws and the guidelines that mandated the rules and regulations of what was eliminated from the classrooms. The Pledge of Allegiance, prayer, discipline, textbooks with scriptures, reading the Bible, these are just the tip of the moral iceberg that melted at a rapid pace. The statistics are staggering with what happened with the behavior of people that moved parallel with these dates, clearly showing that the decay of society followed suit with each removal of morality within public schools. As with any successful change, the decay of society happened in pieces. The removal of morals one at a time, along with the removal of accountability, little by little, we as a society inched to decay without even knowing we had opened the window for the full draft when we thought we just opened it for an inch. You know that old saying, give him an inch and he'll take a mile? Well, that's where this comes from. We moved an inch at a time, and then soon we covered the mile and looked back and thought, how did we cover the mile? It started with a decision to be independent. We eliminated prayer. We told God we could do it rather than depend on Him. We eliminated discipline. We told God we had a better way. We eliminated Bible and Scripture. We told God we were wiser. The birth of me and I and what I can do and what I want to do with my life took birth. Focus of self began. Several years ago, my mother made an interesting statement. We were in a store. It was very, very busy and very crowded. And she just made a statement. And she said, it's a handout upward society, isn't it? And I turned and said, well, what do you mean? And as I turned, I saw where she was looking. And she saw a child. And we were in line, and I'm not sure what the store was, but we were at the checkout. And the child had his hand stretched out and turned upwards, waiting for whatever it was he had asked for and was crying for. And it was a profound lesson that I instilled in my children. What the lesson is sticking your hand out and turning your hand upwards and expecting it to get filled rather than waiting politely for the person to hand you what it is that you're asking for. So I'm going to randomly say this to you. If you are age 35 or older, and let's say you ask something from someone, you ask to borrow the car keys, a few dollars, or whatever it is, I am going to say most likely you will keep your hand down and beside you until whatever that item is being handed to you, and then you will reach for it. But let's say you're under age 35, and especially even younger. And if you ask for the car keys or something to borrow or a piece of candy or whatever it is, I'm going to tell you there's a good chance that you will have your hand out and turned upwards waiting for what it is that you've asked for to be put into your hand. Test this in the next few days. Observe people. The younger the better. Observe the position of the hands when asking or expecting. Is it by your side? By their side? Or is it outstretched and turned upwards? More importantly, how often do you see it? Recently, I was in the airport and I was walking and I saw a large book display of Joel Osteen's new book, I Am. I stopped in my tracks. I turned around and I stared at the book. Once again, it's all about us. Once again, it's about me and what I can do and what we can say and what we can achieve and what we want. It's all about me. It matches society. Society wants to make everything about feelings, with the want of the individual in the front, which is the breeding ground for war. There are too many of us walking around wanting our own way. You see, inch by inch, we told God we didn't need Him. Inch by inch, we told God we could do it ourselves. Inch by inch, we thought higher of ourselves than the one who created us. Inch by inch, we began to expect. Inch by inch, our hands turned from worship. Inch by inch, our hands turned from service. Inch by inch, our hands became outstretched, cupped upwards, expecting to get what we want. Inch by inch, we became offended when we didn't get our way. Inch by inch, we forgot about our neighbor and thought about ourselves. Inch by inch, tantrums of selfishness became poor behavior. And inch by inch, poor behavior became outbursts. And then outbursts became rage. And inch by inch, rage became violence. If our views, our thoughts, our expectations, our dreams, our wants, our hands were not filled as we demanded, it all started with removing prayer from the schools. It started with the inch thinking we knew more than God. When we look outside and we see the sunset, the moon, the green grass, when we study the detailed books of anatomy, when we hear the first cry of a baby, when we see romance in bloom, or the sunset years of a long journey of marriage, when we read a written word, when we pick up a textbook that teaches a child math, when we see the ocean currents, when we see the tears roll down a weathered cheek, when we pick up the chisel, or when we click on a keyboard, we find the list is endless of what we cannot make ourselves. In closing, let me turn the above paragraph around and say it this way. God tells us, I am the sunset. I am the moon. I am the green grass. I am anatomy. I am the cry of life. I am romance. I am language. I am numbers. I am the ocean. I am creation of tears. I am laughter. I am invention. I am the wind. I am gentleness. I am love. I am peace. I am the Creator. The Bible tells us simply that God answered Moses, telling who He was, who He is for all generations. He said, I am that I am. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. Do not buy into the death of I am and put yourself first. Do not buy into the death of the great I am and live expecting to have your hand filled. Do not buy into the death of the great I am and think more of yourself than others. Do not buy into the death of the great I am and live offended with bursts and outbursts of angers when you don't get your own way. For it is in the death of needing God that war is birthed. Realize how important it is in these perilous times. We so desperately need the great I am. For it is He who hath made us, and not we ourselves. This is Kim Hilton. You can always reach me through my website at onetruechurch.org. That's the number 1truechurch.org. Thank you, and God bless you.